A warm welcome to all the participants for this day 26 of this 33-day My Time Self-Transformation Program. And today we are going to have very fascinating topic on law of karmas. For that, we have our beloved chairman, Sri S.K. Rajan sir with us.
Let me give a brief introduction. I know sir is already known to many of us. He's been there in and out. He's been throughout, rather, helping us in many ways in IFSS. He is part of Pyramid Valley and so on. Let me still give a introduction. I feel it still calls for it. So Sri S.K. Rajan sir is currently the vice chairman of the IFSS since 2012, and he has experienced a transformation encounter with Patriji almost 25 years ago that eliminated the need for further search for any spiritual mentor or a guru. Inspired by Patriji, he immersed himself in the reading of spiritual books, becoming an avid reader over the past almost quarter century. He has organized numerous meditation programs throughout India, involving his entire family, and was honored with Dhyana Ratna Award in 2003. Currently, his primary focus is spreading the message of Harold Percival's seminal work, Thinking and Destiny, which Patriji hailed as a book of the century. Additionally, Mr. Rajan has served as the managing trustee of Pyramid Valley International and continues to contribute as a trustee. This IFSS, Indian Federation of Spiritual Scientists, is now going to be evolved as International Federation of Spiritual Scientists, and Sir is going to be the president of this organization. So, Sir, without much ado, I pass it on to you. We are all ears for your topic today, a diagnostics of law of karma. We are all, we are all eagerly waiting to hear from you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sunil. I think it was a wonderful introduction, but whether I deserve it that much, I do not know. But then,
certainly, sir, certainly.
But then I'm so honored, I feel, because this is a subject which is very close to me, close to my heart rather, because right from the days when I was connected to spirituality, or even earlier, I used to wonder at the way things are going on around the world and the amount of discrimination, inequalities and things like that. Why is it happening despite our being good and say modest, and at the same time kind, and at the same time helpful? So at the outset, I would like each of you to understand or ask yourself whether you have had such similar questions which I had been confronted with. Like, for example, among the inequalities that we find, there are many. So before that, let me tell you what karma means. Karma comes from the Sanskrit word kri, which means to act and means action or deed. Karma is both the action and the consequence of that action. So in effect, you can say the law of karma is a universal law which can also be called as the law of cause and effect. So we have to see the cause and we have to see what the effect is. That is why it is known as a law and a law of karma. So as spiritual scientists, each of us should try to examine why a certain thing happens and why a certain thing doesn't happen when we expect it the most. So I will give you a set of frequently asked questions, FAQs rather, and I would like you to examine whether you have at any time felt there is something wrong somewhere. So here I start. What is the cause of inequality that exists among mankind? We see some people very rich, you can say fleeting rich, Or some people, very poor, not able to afford even a meal. What is the reason? Number one. Next question is, why should one person be brought up in the lap of luxury and another in absolute poverty? So because we see all around us the rich and the poor. So because we have read so many stories and so many novels where you find, for example, I remember Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. That is one of the books that I really used to love reading. That book, there he shows the difference between the rich and the poor. Similarly, why should one person be a mental prodigy and another an absolute idiot? This is another question. Similarly, one more question is, why should one person be born with saintly qualities, very humble in his approach and always trying to be helpful and going around helping each person and almost a servant of mankind, and another with criminal tendencies? They both may be hailing from the same family. So this difference is apparent when you see them, because one has got saintly qualities, another has got the tendency to rob, the tendency to be always uh, making money at the expense of another. Next question is, why should some be linguistic, artistic, mathematically inclined, or musical from the cradle? They have all the artistic facilities. They have the inclination to be very much creative in their outlook, whereas the other person is an absolute third. Similarly, we have seen in families that there are many who are congenitally blind, deaf, or deformed, whereas all the other members are okay. So one or two would have been born that way. And last but not the least, why should some be blessed and some others cursed from their births right from the time they are born? So now, to understand what is karma, we come across the word karma very often these days, especially in the last 15, 20 years. I've seen, even in the West, the word karma has become so predominant and so very often used. Say, for example, a person says, "Arey, it is my karma to have a boss who is so dominant and who is not at all understandable." And similarly, some people even say, "It's my karma that I got married to this lady, and that is why I have to suffer." So the word karma is so very rampant, it's so very often used, so frequently used in the West. Now, I want you to know why it has become important. For that, I have to narrate a very small story. Long, long ago, it seems there was a Jewish priest, you call him a bishop or what, in a synagogue. There is a temple of the the temple of the Jews. So there he was doing his routine duties, like going every day to the synagogue, trying to help people around, making them understand what is good and bad, so that they are able to do their best for the community, and so many other things he was doing. Selflessly, he was working for the community. But with all this, and his also characteristic of telling the people, you see, God has been so kind to us, so let us also be kind to all the human beings and all the animals around, and let us be good to everyone, so that we in turn get good things. But then, unfortunately for him, when he returns home, he has to encounter and he has to take care of a son who was struck with a very strange disease. He is afflicted with a disease which is known as progeria. P-R-O-G-E-R-I-A. What is progeria? It is a disease which causes very rapid aging. So a person, a boy, for example, when he's 10 years old, he will appear as if he is 25 to 30 years old. So all his hair would have grown that much. He would have started getting a beard. And then by the age of 40 or 45, this human being tends to become almost like an older person, with his teeth falling, his hair falling, and aging is so quick. So he was having such a boy whom he has to tender, and he has to look after, and he has to help him out with his daily activities, etc. So this sort of a miserable state of Rabbi Kushner was watched by the entire community, and they were all wondering, how is it, or why is it that such a person who is so good to the entire community and the entire mankind, why is he suffering from such a great problem? All because he has a son who has been born like that. So many people did a lot of research to find out why is it like that for him. In fact, the intellectuals in Jerusalem, where he was staying, they got together almost in a sort of a consortium to find out why Rabbi Kushner should be put to such a grave problem. And that is when they decided that they will look into the scriptures of all the other religions to find out what the most important matter, and that is, why do bad things happen to good people? So what does it mean? Good people who are so humane, people who are so kind, people who are so harmless, such people, why should they suffer? And why should such bad things happen to them? So in the process, a book was written by him, the title of which was, Why Do Bad Things Happen to Good People? So Rabbi Kushner then realized that there is so much in the East, the literature in the East, particularly the Vedanta, has very clearly mentioned everything depends upon the law of karma. That means we have to accept that we all get reborn, and we have held so many past births. We have all lived so many lifetimes before we again came on this planet Earth. So before we understand what the law of karma is, it is important that we know that there are very many laws which are in conjunction with the law of karma. The first law is the law of consciousness. What does the law of consciousness say? That everything in this world has got consciousness. It could be minerals, it could be plants, it could be trees, it could be animals, it could be reptiles, it could be insects, everything. It has got consciousness. And finally, human beings also have consciousness. So what is the difference between each of them? It is only in terms of degree of consciousness which is available or which is present in them. So, for example, a cow may not be having as much consciousness as a human being, because a human being has got 100% consciousness, but a cow has got some consciousness that we should understand, because the cow is able to make out when a calf is born, it gives it all the affection that it needs. It gives it the milk. It is also afraid of death. So that is the most important point. It is whoever or whichever being is afraid of death, you can say they have consciousness. So similarly, human beings also have consciousness, but in a higher degree. So this is known as the law of consciousness. The second is the law of constant progression. What does it mean? Progression in what? It is the progression in spirituality. You can call it progression in spirituality, you can call it progression in your consciousness also, or in your awareness. So the moment a man is born, he is spiritual. So now I am able to recollect that Dr. Wayne Dyer, in one of his books, has said every human being is born with a spiritual bent of mind, and he is born spiritual. He comes on this earth for a human experience, so that he is able to experience whatever is here on this planet Earth. So he is born spiritual, but what happens in the course of his growth? The spirituality part of it is relegated to the background, and other things take over him. His love for money, his love for being more and more rich, his love for luxury, all this takes over him. So the amount of consciousness or the amount of progression that we are supposed to have is not there, because we forget our spirituality, although we are all spiritual beings, born spiritual beings. So here the law says there is a constant progression, because we will find even the most wicked person, by the time he decides to vacate his body, he realizes that there is some consciousness, some good in everyone, and there is progression in the matter of spirituality, which is very constant, and it continues to be there, whatever be his age. So even though it is not there in the beginning stages, but by the time he gets to become old and older and not even able to walk, by that time his progression and his spirituality are at the highest levels. So that constant progression is always there. Next, we come to another important law, the law of hastening progression. What does hastening progression mean? That when we are in this world discharging our day-to-day duties, we come across, or we are lucky enough to come across, certain circumstances or certain individuals, for that matter, with whom we get introduced, or certain even tragedies, I would say, because all these tend to make you hasten your own progressive levels. So the law of hastening progression only says that there are circumstances in respect of each individual when the progression takes place at a very rapid rate. I would, from my own experience with this great yogi of ours, Brahmarshi Patriji, that introduction for me in the year 1998 have only hastened my progression. So only then I started realizing that there are things to learn, there are things to do for every one of us. We are not born here just to be born, just to be here, just to study and then get employed and then maintain a family, then produce children and whatnot. So we have things to do, we have our own priorities, and we have to spell out our priorities so that we are able to do the best things that we can. So there is a sort of hastening progression. The moment you get a great yogi, or you come under his influence, or there are circumstances which make you like that, because everyone cannot have a smooth life throughout. There are ups and downs in our lives. So when there are when there are circumstances when you tend to meet certain unforeseen events and you are in a gloom, in a miserable state, at that time you start a sort of self-introspection. The self-introspection leads you to a greater progression in respect of spirituality. Next law that we have to learn when we are studying the law of karma is the law of uncertainty. What does it mean? Everything goes on as it is in the best way possible, insofar as nature is concerned. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. We are able to see seasons coming one after another. After autumn you see the spring. After spring you get the summer. And after summer you get the winter. All these are there. All these are going on in the normal course. But then the law of uncertainty says that there are certain times when the uncertain events also happen. The other things which are natural and which come by means of nature, they are all certain. But the law of uncertainty says a person who is very able-bodied, who has been doing very good work, and you see him every day, he is your neighbor, you see him go to the gym, maintain his body, he is also doing all the household work, everything. Suddenly you find that he disappears from this earth because the time has come for him to go to the other worlds, and so he vacates his body. So this is known as the law of uncertainty. Similarly, we see people plan to go on big journeys. Even the other day, we heard about the great railway accident in Orissa. So such sort of events are all unexpected, and uncertainty is very, very much in evidence, because so many people would have planned so many things to go by that train, but there are so many losing their lives or losing their limbs. So this is known as the law of uncertainty. The most important law, which we all believe in, especially in the East, is the law of reincarnation. Law of reincarnation is a very, very great law, and it was not accepted in the East, and even today, I'm sorry, in the West, it was not accepted in the West for the simple reason Christianity did not approve of reincarnation or rebirth, because they believed there is only one life. But then our Vedantic literature, as well as Buddhism and so many other religions, believe that every time we come here and discharge our duties here, due to our own karmic reasons, we have to take rebirth. If you watch closely what I meant, what I really said, watch closely the words, that the law of reincarnation will take place. I told you about karma. It is related to karma, because what I mean to say is that when you have a lot of bad karma, but you have done also some good things, so what will happen is, to eke out, to even out, to pay for the karmic deeds that you have incurred during this lifetime, the only way to pay for it, or the only way to settle scores, insofar as the law of karma is concerned, is by getting reincarnated, by being born again as another human being and discharging your duties here on this earth. So the essence of the law of reincarnation is that each time you reincarnate, you do not go lower in respect of your spirituality. You only improve your level of spiritual intelligence. And so, for every birth, you learn more and more and more. Each time you come here, it is like gold, which is shown in the heat. We show the gold to the heat so that it melts and gets purified. So it works as an alchemist. So the law of reincarnation is a law which helps you to learn more, so that the next time you take birth here, you will recount, if it is possible, you are able to recount some of your past lives to know why something good happened to you or something bad happened to you. So the law of reincarnation is a very, very important law. There are very good books on reincarnation, especially I remember the book Reincarnation by Edgar Casey. He was a very great British doctor who could see the past lives of any person simply by sitting on his chair and watching him come to him. Then he will be able to recount his or her entire past. And he has written many books, some of the books, and this book, Reincarnation by Edgar Casey, is a very important book. Another very important book is Reincarnation by Gina Rajadasa, who was one of the great presidents of the Theosophical Society of India. And Gina Dasa, in his book, Remembering Past Lives, it's a very good book. You can read the book. There he says, it is so unfortunate that we are not able to remember our past lives. That is what all of us will think. But he says, let us stop to think why we are not able to remember our past lives. Because if you remember every past life of yours, the problem will come for your own self when you are on this world or in this planet, because it may so happen that you might find that your own brother, your own father, or your own sister or wife would have been your enemy in one of your past lives. So our thoughts, our capacity to remember has been constricted intentionally by the universe so that you do not remember all your past lives. But let me tell you, there is a small clause which enables you to see your past life, and that is through constant meditation. So if you have certain events which confront you and you are not able to get an answer, all that you have to do is do intense meditation. You will be able to see at least one or two of your past lives, and that will explain and that will give you sufficient reason as to why you are born that way or why you are facing such a situation. I can recount a small incident where Edgar Casey says, when one lady goes to him and says, Doctor, I am very much depressed. I want you to help me to come out of my depression. Then he asks certain personal questions from her, because as a doctor, he can always ask to find out how her mental state is. So then the lady, the patient, tells him that my husband, who was looking after me and my kids, 4 kids, after 30 years of marriage, he suddenly left me and gone. So I feel very much depressed that someone whom I have been looking after and whereas I was doing my entire duties very faithfully, I find that suddenly he has gone away, leaving me astray, leaving me uncared for. The immediate answer that Edgar Cayce says, try to recollect your own past, madam. You will remember that you had done a similar thing when you were around 18 years old, when you were in the forest. And that incident is narrated it so well that you should read the book. It says, a person comes into the forest on a horse and he is going about, and suddenly he sees this girl, a young girl. She is very beautiful and very good looking. So he sees the girl and decides that he should try to marry her. So he slowly approaches her and slowly they talk to each other and they fall in love. Incidentally, this lady had already got married to someone and was having a family, but then she chose to leave the family and go after that person because he was a princess from the nearby territory. So this is the exact incident which has really caused a repetition, and at which she is at the other end where she has to meet the karma and look after her children without her husband, who was looking after her for so many days or for so many years. And so faithfully he was looking after them. So when this incident is narrated, she's able to understand that I am the cause of this particular situation. So I have no reason to complain against anyone else. So that is how he used to help them. In fact, there are so many other instances where Edgar Cayce states a person is reformed after knowing what is the cause for the present worry. So now I do not want to go in very detail about the law of karma because it is a very vast subject. But due to paucity of time, I would like to tell you that each of us has got a responsibility to discharge on this earth. And there are certain ways by which you can overcome your karma. If you really follow these rules, it is even possible to burn the karma that you have incurred, because everything is in your hands. Making the present as joyful and as blissful as possible is in your hands. And as Seth has told, you create your own reality. So when you do it, then you will understand that it is up to us to make our life present pleasant too. So past is history, future is mystery. So if we live in the present, making our present beautiful by our own actions, then all the karma can be got rid of by the end of your journey. Read the book of Osho, The Art of Dying. There is a book. Read the book. There he says, by the age of 60, you should start preparing the balance sheet of your life to know how good you have been or how bad you have been, so that you can make amends. You need not regret for it, but you can make amends and rectify your own situation. So the following points are very important for us to know how we can overcome our karma. The first point is pay your own karmic debts. No debts in the universe ever gets unpaid. All the debts have to be paid by us one by one. So even if we say, I don't believe in the law of karma, you may say that, but that is not right, because you have to incur the law of karma and you have to pay for every action of yours. So what is it in our hands that we have to undergo the problems faced without any grudge or remorse or hatred? So when you start enjoying that experience that you have had, even though it may be difficult, it is very difficult to enjoy an experience, especially when you are suffering, especially physical suffering or mental suffering. So you should realize that you are paying your karmic debts, and that is why you are undergoing that particular experience, because there is something which has caused this. So if you know this, then you will be able to come out of that problem in a faster manner. The second way that we can do it is transform your karma to a desirable experience. What can I learn from this experience? So self-introspection should help you to know how to repeat the actions that create karma, as also learning through suffering. A spiritually intelligent person can learn a lot if he is able to see suffering as one other opportunity to learn. So learning through suffering is very important, and that is possible only if you have put your first steps on for spiritual knowledge and spiritual wisdom. Then it is very easy to learn. The next point is how to transcend the karma. Can we transcend karma? Can we get over the karma? That we have to learn, because when we start practicing meditation, we become a conscious choice maker. We try to understand, and we know through meditation, when we start doing it regularly, we understand that it is possible for us to transcend karma and slowly come out of it, because we will not be in the mood to suffer and the mood to regret anything, because every regret is a fresh blunder, and it is for us to know how this can be overcome. So practice meditation as much as you can, and also try to understand that whatever is come is for the good, or you have worked for it, you have chalked out the way. For that, read the book of Sylvia Brown, Temples on the Other Side. If you read that book, you will know that as you leave the world and your spirit goes up, then you are put into a hall of wisdom. In the hall of wisdom, you learn, or you are able to see what are the bad things that you have done in your previous life. It is shown to you as if it is a picture, as if it is a film that you are seeing. Like a movie, it is shown to you as to what all good you have done. In fact, we are all born on this earth to face all the problems because of the past karma that we have had, good or bad. So good karma is also there. Let us not forget that. If you have done a lot of good in the past, you have to get the result, or you have to get the reward for that. So you have to transcend karma and practice meditation and become a conscious choice maker. We can burn our karma through selfless service to humanity. And Patriji used to say, teach meditation as much as possible. Each one, teach one. If you adopt that principle, then you will be able to burn your karma very fast. There is another point that is very important, that is the power of will, the willpower and the determination of Sankalpa Shakti. Sankalpa Shakti means that determination, the strong determination to reshape our unmanifested karma. Because the prarabdha karma, which you call it, the karma that has been there lying for so long, and it is still confronting us in this lifetime. When you pay for it, when you suffer it, then it is over. The account is closed. So we don't have to really suffer. But the moment you execute each of your action on this world with total awareness, without harming anyone, and the harm may be by word, by thought, by action. In any of these ways, if you harm them, then naturally you also will be harmed. There is another important point as to how we can burn your karma, and that is cultivate a focus and control over your senses, because invariably it is our senses that cause you to commit karma. Especially, you will remember in the Bhagavad Gita, there is a mention of by Lord Krishna, who says that it is only the tongue which causes all the problem. I don't remember the stanza, but then it meant the effect of that particular sloka is that it is the tongue which causes all the problems for humanity. If you start analyzing how, you will understand. You want good food, so you want a good surrounding. So you want a good luxurious life. So to achieve all that, you go to any extent. It may be the right way, or it may be any other way. So that the tongue is the cause for that particular situation in which which is confronting you. Another cause why the tongue is being mentioned is because of our words. Because face is the index of the mind, and words are the index of the soul. So if you do not say the proper words and tell the proper words, and you cause harm to someone, either by means of your words, because it affects the relationship, and so the person is affected. So if your words do not come correctly, then naturally it is your tongue that has caused the problem to someone else. So, we might all remember that under the 18 principles of the Pyramid Spiritual Societies movement, Patriji had told that one of the principles of PSSM is understanding the law of karma, and that has been mentioned here. So I will quote Patriji's words here. Quote, that is, once we understand the principles of the law of karma, which is, in other words, the law of cause and effect, then we become very careful with our words and deeds. For instance, words and deeds directly result in corresponding realities. We also begin to understand the maxim, do unto others as you would like those other beings to do unto you. So with these words, I end this small session on law of karma. The diagnostics of karma is such a long topic, it's a big topic. I want you to understand that there are many, many books on karma, and each of you are at liberty to read these books, because books are the swiftest shortcut to enlightenment. And the law of karma by Robert Svoboda, it's a wonderful book about how Swami Vimalananda tells us that these books help us, and these principles need to be known by every human being. Another book is The Law of Karma by Swami Abhedananda. It is also a very good book. Third book is Death and Reincarnation by, his name is Rajmani Tigunath, Tagunait. Rajmani Tigunath was one of the closest disciples of Swami Rama, and that book is also wonderful. It tells you how through Acharya Sangati means the closeness to the Guru and understanding the principles for which the Guru stands and executing your actions in such a way, it will help you not only in your day-to-day lives, the Guru can even prolong your life here for the sake of humanity. And that is what has happened in the case of Adi Shankaracharya. So that is also mentioned. It's so interesting to read how your Guru, your Acharya can help you to do a lot of work to humanity, because he does that for Adi Shankara only because even at the age of 10, he had already started doing what he was supposed to do when he was grown up person. So there are so many books which are available on karma. Read all the books and try to understand so that you are able to practice this, because ultimately we have to go, or we have to leave this world without any bad karma. We should by then have erased all our bad karma, and we should have done only good karma, so that we get a very safe seat, a smooth sailing to the other worlds, so that we can continue our great work, not only here, but also in the other worlds. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Sunil, once again, and thank you all the friends who are assembled here, aligned here for this great program of the International Federation of Spiritual Scientists. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was so wonderful. Wow, I know. I mean, this subject is so vast, and you actually, concised everything, and yet you made sure you're not leaving out any of those important points just because of the time. And that speaks out volumes how much you have deep dived into this subject. And thank you so much. It was so wonderful to listen to you. Friends, we are now open to question and answer session. Please feel free to post your questions in the chat, or you may feel free to raise your hand and you can ask the question directly.
Yeah, so I've been in spirituality for many, many years, 23 years, and even beyond. So till now, what I have understood, that whatever we sow, we reap. This is the law of God.
Whatever we sow, yeah, correct.
Yeah. So if we are doing any bad karmas, like we are going to be facing all the results in our this or future lifetimes. But I also recently learned, like through law of through manifestation processes, that if with meditation, and which I have become very regular from past 4-5 months, doing at least 2 to 3 times a day. So I feel I am very connected with myself till now. Before that, even being in spirituality, I used to feel a lot of jitteriness, uneasiness, and the reactiveness within me. I will not be happy with my own being also. But now I feel I'm connected with myself. I'm very peaceful, with a lot happy.
Great,
So
great.
thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So does this state, which has taken me to this state, being in meditation and all, and I have connected with my being and my happy self, does this help me to, burn my karma, which I may have created this lifetime or past lifetimes, and transcend all the karmas in one lifetime itself? Or do I still have to go through all the fruits of these past lifetimes?
You see, first thing we have to understand is doing meditation. In fact, in the initial stages when we learned meditation, I'm talking about 20 years back, we used to think we will not be having any problems whatsoever. But then that's not the case.
Right.
To understand that problems are there everywhere. Say, suppose we go to some other place, we may take time to settle down. We may not get the basic things available. Now, what does meditation do? Meditation strengthens you. It strengthens your resolve. It also enables you to meet any crisis. It's not only you will not, you cannot be assured, or no one can tell you that meditation, taking to meditation will immediately resolve all your problems. It is impossible. So what is happening is you may meet a crisis, but you'll be able to manage the crisis. You understand? Managing the crisis is more important, and that gives you the strength to manage the crisis. Whereas if you were sans meditation, without meditation, then it will be absolutely difficult. You would have gone into deep depression. You understand?
Very true. Very
You're able to get over that composure you get, that strength you get, the mental strength you get, that agility that you get is immense. So we have been able to face every situation, however bad it would have been, because we are in the spiritual field. So we know something is related to something else. Suppose I suggest someone to buy some shares in some particular company, and the person buys it and he incurs a loss. Now, here I'm making a mistake by giving a suggestion, because, and in the process, he incurs a loss. Now, what have you to understand that you have incurred his displeasure by giving a suggestion, and again, I do the business and I incur loss, then I should realize that other day I gave a wrong suggestion and made someone incur a loss. And that is a result of because of that, I am facing today's situation. So you can attribute this to that. You understand? Connection is such. So similarly, a person who beats someone, in fact, there are cases where people who incur certain karma, they are able to burn the karma by agreeing to be born disabled. Can you imagine? I never knew that. But
yes.
They are born disabled only because they have asked for it. It is not their misfortune or anything. They have asked for it because he must have cut the leg of someone due to some business rivalry in some past janma. So the person is born disabled now. Okay. So that is why read Richard Bach. The mark of your ignorance is the depth of your beliefs in injustice and tragedy. There is no injustice, there is no tragedy. That is what Richard Bach says. The mark of your ignorance is the depth of your beliefs in injustice and tragedy. So if you understand that there is no injustice and there is no tragedy in this world, and everything is caused by one's own self, then you will be able to sail smooth throughout this life. So all the best, madam. You are able to do meditation, do constant meditation, teach meditation. The moment you start teaching, right from children onwards, you start teaching. There are so many people whom we know who have come out of all these crises merely because they have learned meditation and they're teaching meditation, because we should spend some time of ours for the benefit of someone else. You understand? You take that attitude, then that will give you a great this thing. That is why Jesus Christ has said, seek ye the kingdom of God and his righteousness first, and all else will be added unto you. Seek ye the kingdom of God and his righteousness first, and his righteousness first, and all else will be added unto you. What does that mean? Everything will fall into place for you. The person whom you want to. Suppose you want to get your daughter married, you will meet someone who is very much suitable for your daughter. Everything will fall in place. And that has been happening to me, to my family. Because we are in this line, we have been teaching meditation, we have conducted so many classes, and we are happy about it. Okay. So start doing that. Teach your neighbors, teach them the right food. What is right food? Yesterday, Sharmaji's session was wonderful. He explained how the right food is important for us, how it enhances your energy levels, the right food. Okay. So explain this to other people after you read so many books.
How can we start bringing the same wisdom to the little kiddos, the future next generation?
You know, Mr. Sriram, I would like to tell you, the whole thing starts right from conception. You know, before the child is born itself, the girl, if it is your daughter, you should advise her that be in a meditative state throughout your pregnancy and conception. Okay. Afterwards, when the child is delivered, the child will be born with all the spiritual qualities. That in my own case, my daughter, she is a very good, very great spiritual being. So she is able to see vast like around there. So many things are there. But then in her stage when she was pregnant, at that time, even she used to do meditation, having some light music. She used to feel the child moving, because of that music. Understand, the small baby fetus state, it starts moving. So that spirituality starts entering at that age. You understand? She can, so doctors may not believe it, but then we know we have got specific instance there. So what I mean to say is, be a light unto yourself. That is what Buddha says. So when you are a light, you can spread the light all around you, and you can make other people also understand. It's not only meditation, also about the right food. Killing, and you cannot kill animals for food. This is the best thing. And I was amazed to see Patriji say that. The first time I met Patriji, I immediately fell for him for the simple reason he's the only guru, to my knowledge, who openly advocated vegetarianism. I had gone to so many gurus, but I never saw anyone mentioning that. But here was a person who said that be a vegetarian. You have no right to take the life of anyone. So, which is the worst karma that a person can suffer is caused only by killing. You understand? Violence causes all the problems. So, it's good that you appreciated this karma theory. All the best to you. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, fortunately, I've been in touch with this meditation for a long time, but I couldn't practice. But, I wanted to come back to this, and, at the same time, I have some kind of mental block. I don't know what I call exactly, but I understand these principles is it my understanding correct that these meditation, all these principles are based on Buddhism teachings?
No. It is not Buddhism. See, meditation has been there right from the days of Sri Krishna. Okay. It has been there. Krishna. It is not Buddhism. Buddhism is later. It has come later. You understand? But it was only Buddha who told about suffering, and suffering and the suffering is caused only because of your excessive desires. So you curb your desires, and curb your desire to have everything in the world. Understand? Everyone wants to accumulate, keep on accumulating money, wealth, houses, luxury, everything. So if you take it as, take an attitude of the universal, give me whatever I deserve. You understand? That is the way Patriji lived. He says, I asked him only one question. How are you going to build a pyramid when you don't have a pie with you? I asked him this question directly when we went to the Pyramid Valley for the, the foundation day, Bhumi Puja. Then he said, I don't care. He said, I don't worry about it. I don't keep worrying about how it is going to come. I only know one thing, that I am working for the universe. The universe will give me through someone. Understand? Through people who are interested, it will come. And that happened. That is how the great Pyramid Valley has come now. So, we have to just leave it as it is. That is why I read the book Surrender Experiment. Understand? There's a very good book, Surrender Experiment. Read that book. You will know how you have to surrender yourself to the universe so that you get everything. Understand? You don't have to really go after it. It will come on its own, and accept everything, good or bad. Mostly it will be good because you have good intentions. You have got pure intentions. You don't mean bad for anyone. So you'll get the good things. Okay?
So, sir, we have a question posted by Ms. Aarti Mehta. If destiny is already decided by our previous life karma, then why actions are needed?
Yeah. See, what is destiny? Destiny is what absolutely it comes to you at a later stage. That is destiny. But you have already, it is, we do not remember, suppose for example, a person who is very hale and hearty and very healthy, etc. He dies at a particular age, say 45 years, he dies. Now, he would have already, according to Sylvia Brown, if you read the book Temples on the Other Side, she says, we have already decided that person who has already taken a pledge that he will work for 45 years on this earth and then get back to do the remaining work there on the other worlds, or to live only for 45 years, that he has decided. How do you and I know? Even he doesn't know. You understand? The person himself doesn't know that he will die at the age of 45. He has already forgotten everything. So destiny is what you create. Your thinking, that is what creates the destiny. You understand? So read Harold Percival's Thinking and Destiny. You will understand more of what destiny is. Destiny is what you create, and how you create it, the way that you have taken the vow at that particular time. So on that basis only everything happens here. See, there are people who would have decided that I would not live for more than 50 years because I have caused the death of someone else in my previous birth. So I don't want to live full 80 years or 90 years. I will die. But whereas we think it is unfortunate, it is an accident. There is no accident at all, he says. Everything is caused by your own effort, your own thinking. You understand?
Yeah, I think we don't have any more questions. And thank you so much, sir. I know.
So thanks to the entire team of Indian International Federation of Spiritual Scientists. So all the best in your next few days that we are having all the great programs coming up to 21st. All the best to our friends who are supporting this venture of ours. And so thank you, Sunil.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. You took your value. I know you're traveling, you're relocated to Chennai, and you still took out time for conducting this session. Well, let me give it back to Manusha to do the closing. Thank you so much, sir, once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you so much, sir, for the enlightening session. Your session is always thought-provoking because karma is a very huge topic and you put that into simple words. And thank you so much, sir. I also thank our partner organization, Shambhala Solutions, Meditation Magic, and Breath Universe for supporting us in this journey. Thank you, everyone.